Hi everyone. We're going to talk a little bit about Ketoba in relation to ketones and how Ketoba is designed to support metabolism, improve insulin function, and do a lot of things that will help you perform better and and um, um, manage your health and allow you to engage in a lifestyle that's going to be extremely healthy for you. So, what is Ketoba? There's a lot of questions out there as to what this is. This is a newcomer to the ketone space, and it's not a newcomer to our research. This has been ongoing work for approximately 7 years, on and off, and I decided to move towards focusing on the research and bringing it to a close over the last 2 years, simply because of market trends, really. But realizing that the preliminary research was pointing in a direction that was supportive of health and helping treat people that had conditions that were in some cases untreatable. So what is Ketoba? We know about raspberry ketones. If we look to this chart, we see raspberry ketones have been around for a while. Very different molecule from the biological ketone that we are speaking about today in the context of Ketoba. So raspberry ketones are typically a flavoring and aroma agent that's often used in products to improve flavor and aroma. So there's a lot of research that has indicated that raspberry ketones might be supportive of weight loss, but the clinical evidence is really not that supportive. So it's kind of controversial. And when we move to the biological ketones, which typically are delivered in the form of ketone bodies called beta-hydroxybutyrate is one of them. And beta-hydroxybutyrate will be converted in the body into acetoacetate and then acetone. But typically the most common orally consumed or exogenous source of these ketones or ketone bodies is the beta-hydroxybutyrate, BHB. We see this in the industry coupled to MCT, medium-chain triglycerides, and medium-chain triglycerides are often used in conjunction with BHB because the MCT, medium-chain triglyceride, can be used by the body, and specifically by the liver, in an activity called free fatty acid beta oxidation to produce ketones, primarily BHB ketone bodies and other ketones in our body so that the brain can use the ketone as a source of fuel. So what's different about Ketoboost and how it's fueled by Ketoba? Ketoba does not rely on the MCT as a facilitator or source of BHB in the body. So Ketoba is a combination. It is beta-hydroxybutyrate, the ketone body, coupled to butyric acid. And butyric acid is a short-chain fatty acid, hence the name Ketoba. And this butyric acid is also a precursor for BHB. The butyric acid also acts as an activator in the body so that your liver is activated to produce BHB from fats. So it turns on what's called beta oxidation. The cool thing about butyric acid is that it also turns on these beta oxidative or beta oxidation activity in other cells of the body, including enzymes that exist as systemic enzymes that are literally flourishing and floating throughout the body. So the adipose cells of your body, the fat mass, will have such systems in place that butyric acid will activate. Now, butyric acid is normally produced by the probiotic culture of your gut, so the bacteria in your intestinal tract. And so if you are short of fiber and the microbiota is not healthy in the gut, then the butyric acid production is short. So what we have found in our research is that butyric acid, when consumed orally as a supplement, can actually serve as a very potent anti-inflammatory for the mucosal membranes of the gut and a facilitator for beta-hydroxybutyrate, so that when we supply Ketoba, we are actually supplying the ketone body in the exogenous supplement, but we're supplying a key or an ignition switch that pushes the body to produce ketones endogenously, internally. So we're not requiring as much of the BHB in an exogenous source, which then helps protect the gastrointestinal tract from gastrointestinal distress, which is quite common with BHB and MCT. So let's look down the chart and see what this all means. Do raspberry ketones promote ketosis? No. Does the MCT-BHB combination promote ketosis? Yes, and so does Ketoba. There are many brands that supply different forms of these ketones and ketogenic inducers. We can see them. There's a lot of raspberry ketones in the marketplace, and they're relatively inexpensive simply because we're not talking about the same molecule. To extract and produce the ketones from raspberry, the raspberry ketones, is a completely different process and a completely different cost factor. You can probably buy that product for $20, $25 in the marketplace in some places, but it's not going to do anywhere near what Ketoba can do and what Ketoboost can do. I can tell you, I just had a workout this morning about an hour ago, and I used the Ketoboost, the heightened Ketoboost, as my pre-workout. There is nothing in the marketplace that stimulates that energy and keeps you going through the workout like that product. So the recommended minimum effective dose to raise serum ketone levels, I mean, typically we're looking at extremely high levels when it comes to the typical ketone on its own, BHB, or the BHB with MCT. Ketoba, the recommended dose is significantly lower. I mean, we can get great results between 2 and 4 grams. And in fact, if someone is extremely serious about getting a significantly raised serum ketone level or serum ketone body level, which would be the BHB, I mean, we can look at anywhere from a 4 to 5 gram dose, but 2 grams is sufficient for the average person. I used the Ketoboost this morning. Again, that has an excess of 2 grams, and the effect is significant. In fact, I wouldn't want more than that because the energy level rises up so high that you're revving. So what does the ketone product and a Ketoba-driven product do metabolically? So basically what we're trying to accomplish with ketones is to serve our cells with a secondary energy source. Typically our cells will use glucose as a primary energy source to produce ATP. ATP is the global energy source for our cells. And so we are trying to supply the body with an alternative source that will produce more ATP per carbon, more ATP per unit of carbon through the mitochondria that generates your ATP. Does the raspberry ketone deliver this effect? No. Does the ketone with MCT deliver this effect? It does. And does Ketoba and Ketoboost deliver this effect? Certainly does. And you can feel it. You know, when your body is actually utilizing fat as a substrate for ATP generation, you're looking at approximately 9 calories per gram that is burnt and that is used for an intense energy source. When your body is using a glucose or carbohydrate source, it primarily would be glucose. Ultimately, we're looking at 4 calories per gram. But going deeper at a molecular level, I mean, I mentioned earlier, we're looking at a higher level of ATP per carbon that's generated from a ketone versus a glucose molecule. So what we're trying to accomplish here is to train the cells to be comfortable with using ketones and fat as a source of energy. And in this way, you don't have to wait a long time into say, endurance workout, such as you get on a treadmill and you're trying to burn fat. Typically, you will not burn fat on that treadmill until 20 minutes into the exercise. It will take approximately 20 minutes before your body will burn off the glycogen locally in your muscle cells before it starts to use fat as a source of energy. In this case, what we're doing with Ketoba, it is designed to primarily switch your cells immediately when you start that workout to burning fat as a source of energy. There's no waiting 15, 20 minutes. You start burning fat immediately. A typical ketone plus MCT product may not work as effectively as the Ketoba to start in motion this immediate burning of fat. Ketoba is designed primarily with a green tea extract as well that facilitates the activity. And it is a patent pending system. Our research continues to generate more data. I just finished looking at a concentration curve, for example, that speaks to endogenous antioxidants. Ketoba irrefutably in this research increases glutathione levels inside your cells, increases catalase and superoxide dismutase. What does that mean? These are antioxidants that protect your DNA, that protect your cells from environmental toxins, but also from physical activity. You engage in physical activity, you produce byproducts, free radicals, that tend to degrade your body if they're not neutralized. And so part of how Ketoba works is, and our research is irrefutable, we'll be seeing this published shortly, that they raise endogenous or internal glutathione levels, internal superoxide dismutase levels, and internal catalase levels. And these are protective features for your cells, over and above just for protection from the physical work. There are a lot of diseases that cause general oxidative activity that cause your cells to degrade. And so we're seeing an immediate protective activity by Ketoba in your cells upon consuming it. And that only takes within about 10 to 15 minutes to occur and is sustained over a long period of time throughout the day. So there are a lot of benefits in terms of energy, blood sugar regulation, mental focus, anti-inflammatory activity. You recover faster from your workouts. One thing that Ketoba supports the body with that other ketone products will not support the body with is that mucosal membrane of the gastrointestinal tract is delivered an anti-inflammatory activity. Butyrate also supports the brain. Research has shown that many children with autism, for example, have elevated levels of propionic acid, which adversely affect neurons and neurological activity. And butyrate counters this activity and is expected to improve the microbiota or the probiotic culture of the gut in support of better mentation or cognitive activity, in support of better insulin efficiency. And this is all research supported. Common side effects, if we move down that chart, common side effects, we don't see a lot of side effects from the raspberry ketones, and ultimately it's because they don't have a pharmacological effect. It's passive. I'm safe to say that any activity anybody has experienced from the raspberry ketones is likely placebo. And if it works for you as a placebo, then that's okay. That's great. But we don't see any clinical evidence of pharmacological activity. However, with ketones that are biological, like the beta-hydroxybutyrate, when used in very high concentrations, especially high concentrations of medium-chain triglycerides, it's commonly known that intestinal distress is common, and as a function, then you disrupt probiotic culture. As a function of that, you can experience diarrhea, dehydration. The cool thing is that Ketoba actually has an opposite effect to that. Butyrate settles the gastrointestinal tract, has an anti-inflammatory effect to the gastrointestinal tract, helps to manage and balance the probiotic culture by eliminating. It creates an environment that creates avoidance, for example, of pathogenic bacteria. And research has shown irrefutably that mice or murine models that have been fed butyric acid over long periods of time, it shows that they're leaner, they're healthier, they're fitter, they eat less, and it's an outcome that's really conducive to improved health. Scientific support for these products? Sure, there's a lot of scientific support for the MCT with the beta-hydroxybutyrate as an exogenous source. There's scientific support for Ketoba for butyrate, lots of scientific support. There's lots of scientific support for the coupled butyrate to BHB. Very little clinical evidence or scientific support for the raspberry ketones. Yet we still see them abundantly in the marketplace for weight management. And if it works for you, great. But it has to be something that's working from a placebo effect, since there's no clinical evidence. So protected from patents, we don't see anything for the raspberry ketones. We have seen patent protection with Ketoba plus MCTs. But again, it's very limited in how it can be used. It's a great product. I think it works well, but it's very limited because, and I don't know what the statistics are precisely, but too many people react adversely to the high doses of MCTs. And so I think when you're trying to create a reliability for a product that serves as a treatment for illness or a countermeasure for lifestyle problems, here you have something that's unreliable simply because of the gastrointestinal distress too many people experience. We have not seen that at all with Ketoba, and that is the BHB coupled to butyric acid. It's a phenomenal product. Tastes great too. I had, again, that heightened product. I would have had two. It tastes so good. One right before and then one during the workout, but I think the energy level is too intense with two. For me, one is perfect, and I drank half before and sipped on the rest of it during the workout. And the cool thing is that the butyrate, not only does it serve as an energy source, not only does it help facilitate the BHB, but it serves to rehydrate the body. Research shows irrefutably that it helps the gastrointestinal tract, specifically the colon, reabsorb moisture and water and reabsorb electrolytes. And so if you're very active, this is critically important, not only if you're active, but if you're suffering from illness that contributes to diarrhea. It helps to balance that because you're reabsorbing water, you're balancing your bowel movements, but you're restoring electrolyte activity from physical work that may expend it. You know, the cost model as well. I mean, when you're looking at all the benefits, you know, you can buy raspberry ketones cheap, but why bother? You know, the MCT BHB combination tends to be expensive. So, you know, you've got an unreliability factor. You also then have a product that can work for people where it doesn't cause gastrointestinal stress, that's for sure, but it's also expensive to use. And the Ketoba, the way it's designed, actually allows for usage at a much lower cost. And that way compliance is improved, and we hope that we're able to deliver better health to people in a way that's affordable. So, I mean, that kind of rounds up what we have in terms of the pros and cons of these different ketone sources. We're very confident that we're finding the Ketoba is delivered most effectively as a powder. And we've tried capsules, we've tried powders, we've tried all sources. This is an amazing product. And I'm all for it. I've actually switched to using the Ketoboost regularly for my workouts simply because of the amazing hit it gives me with energy spike. And in fact, within a couple hours, if I have to go to sleep, I can still go to sleep. We have to all keep in mind that when you go to sleep, you go into ketosis, so ketone levels do rise. So what I'm trying to say is you may get an energy hit for a workout, but if you want to rest after that and you put your head down, those ketones will start working for you to relax and settle your mind. So it's a perfect system.